Welcome to the Marathon of Excellence. I'm Udall Deolio, your host for this evening, and we have a fabulous guest with us, Miss Lillian West. And she's better known, though, to us as Lady Lillie with the Lowdown. So let me give you a little bit of information about Lillie. Her mission is financial literacy for all people, and she does this through her organization that's called L&R Business Solutions. And she's located in Washington, D.C. area. She's been around doing this work for a long time, approximately 25 years or so. Her expertise is in accounting, hospitality industries, and she holds a degree in both. She's done work for major government organizations as well as the big 8 accounting firms, with major government contractors, small businesses, as well as individuals. Now, her unique training techniques and personal attitude is the key to her absolute success. She gives back to the community a lot. She's been volunteering in so many various organizations throughout the United States, and she has made it her mission to be with us to talk about financial literacy for everyone. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Udall.
I'm so excited to have you here.
It's great being here.
Yes, because I really am very excited that you're going to talk to us about money. I mean, money is important to actually everyone.
Yes.
Yes, particularly if you live here in the United States.
Yes.
So please tell us just a little bit about your title. The main thing you want to talk about is I don't know what I don't know.
Yes. Well, first of all, let me just say I am a professional. However, I want everyone to realize that everyone's situation is different.
Okay.
And what we're going to give here are some key topics, some key advice. But the best thing to do is to talk to your accounting professional, your tax professional, so that they can look at your particular situation and give you what you need for your particular situation. So we just want to get that clear.
Now, what's interesting is that most people are used to having something like a tax professional. We just passed that season. We have it every year.
Right.
So people hire someone to do their taxes or they do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something common. But share with us, why should the average person actually care about accounting? Because we think about accounting as it's something that a business does. So why would the average individual actually be concerned with accounting?
Well, it's funny that you should really ask that, because what people don't realize is that they use accounting anyway, every day. People use the ATM machine. You go on Amazon and make purchases. You try to decide, okay, should I or should I not buy this car? Should I give the kids $5 allowance or should I give them $50 allowance? Is the budget going to hold up this month? Am I going to have more days left in the month than I have money? So we all really use accounting. But the main thing is that what people don't realize is that you got to go a little bit deeper. Because if you don't do that, you don't keep good records, you don't keep a budget, then you get in trouble. For instance, we talked about the fact that you want to decide whether you want to buy a new car. Well, the best way to do that is to make sure that you have a budget so that you can save up that money, so that you can look through your records and you can see on a piece of paper, not in your head, something written down that says how much you spend every month. Or I had a friend who, they were a nonprofit organization, but she was afraid to apply for grants because she had no accounting skills. Well, we want to make sure that people realize that it's not that difficult to get the skills that you need for things like that. Okay, and that's what we help people do, to realize that, oh, I didn't know what I didn't know, but I can find out. I can learn this technique. There's nothing difficult about it.
But that's interesting. You just said to us that in our daily lives, we all touch accounting in some form or fashion.
Yes.
I actually didn't realize that.
Yes.
I didn't think about that. And the average person doesn't actually keep a budget, do they?
No.
Okay, so
No.
is that, so that's a mistake that we're making?
That's definitely a mistake, because then you don't know where your money is going. Or even with, if you have your own business, you'd like to know whether you're making money or losing money. If you don't have a budget, you don't keep good records, then you're not really going to know whether you're making money or losing money. All you're doing is spending money. You may have some money coming in, but how do you know whether you've made money? Or the president of a company, how would you know if someone was stealing from you? I have a topic called, is there a scammer in the house? Is there a scammer in your business? Do you know what's happening in your books? If you have a small business, a large business, whatever, do you realize that there's ways for you to tell if someone is stealing from you? You don't want to be like one of my clients who didn't know how to read a check register, so she didn't realize that checks were missing because someone had actually taken those checks and cashed them. And it was the accountant who did it. Not to give my profession a bad name, but
man.
that's why you have people around you that can help you besides the accountant, some kind of third person, and hopefully it is the president or the vice president that can read these statements.
Very interestingly, I also had a consulting firm that I know of where their person was stealing money from them, and it took them about 2 years to actually notice that the money was missing because
Sad.
they weren't actually keeping up with everything.
Sad.
So you also indicated that, so as the individual, we should watch where our money's going,
Right.
budget-wise.
Mhm.
So what are some kind of questions that we should ask ourselves in general about accounting, other than maintaining a budget? What's something else the layperson needs to know?
Well, think about it. Are you ready if Uncle Sam does call you for an audit? Are your records prepared?
Oh, wait a minute. I have to think about that one. I have to think about that one.
Right. And that's big for the for IRS or any other taxing agency. We may have some viewers that are from another country. All countries have some kind of taxing authority.
Yes.
Someone who you are paying taxes to, and if you decide, if you say this is the amount of money that you have paid, they want to see what your records look like. If they call an audit, are you ready? Are you prepared? And even with a business, when they call for an audit of your books, are your books ready? Do you have the proper records in order for you to pass that audit? That is a huge, huge thing for people these days.
So what are some of the biggest mistakes then that, let's look at two aspects to this. What are some of the biggest mistakes that the individual makes? And then after you cover that, let's look at what are some of the biggest mistakes that a business makes regarding keeping their accounting records. So let's start with the individual.
I've had individuals bring me things in shoe boxes. I've had individuals bring me things in roller bags.
I'm not that bad.
But I love that. I love organizing records. That's one of my strengths. I love to empower people, to show them what they can do so that they don't get in that position for the next year. If you bring me something in a roller bag, I mean, that's like food to me. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to eat that up and get that organized in a way that you can understand it.
Oh, great.
You know, I've heard people say that the definition of an accountant is a person that tells you something that you didn't even know you didn't know, and then they tell you in a way that you don't even know what they said. That's not me. I like to tell you in straight terms what's going on, how you can do better. So I teach that person how they can do the books, what they can do with those records the next time, so that when we meet, you don't have to bring them in a shoebox or a roller bag. And then for a business, what needs to happen is that you need some oversight. There has to be someone that's overseeing the accountants, CPAs, whoever you have that's working on your books. You can't just rely on that person. I mean, look at what happened with Enron. You know, that was a biggie.
Story.
That was a biggie for our profession, and some regulations came down the pike because of that. But also, the companies have to become more aware. The board people that are on the board of directors, the presidents, the CEOs, they have to learn how to read financial statements. They have to know to look at a check register and know if the checks are missing. You know, things like that. So there are a lot of situations that you can get involved in that could potentially be detrimental to you. And the whole thing is accounting is a language. If you don't know the language, then how can you be in business? Okay, because it's a language that helps you in business. You're in business, even if you're a household, you're like a small business. You're very small, but you still want to know where your money's going. And that's the same thing that a business wants to do. They want to know where their money's going. They want to know, a business may want to just know the bottom line, whether I'm losing or I'm, if I'm ahead of the game or I'm not ahead of the game. Well, the same thing with individuals. You want to be able to put some money in the bank, right? You don't want to spend your whole paycheck. You want to be able to put some money in the bank. And in order to do that, you need to keep good records.
So for the individual, is it just enough that I keep a check register?
A little bit more than that, because you need that budget. The budget is key for an individual. So you keep taking me back to, I must have a budget. Back to the budget. The budget is key for an individual. And then at the end of the year, when you get ready to do your taxes, make sure that you check to see, how much did I spend on it? How close did I come to that budget? So it's not just a matter of just developing that budget, but it's a matter of looking back and seeing how you did over that year. And we have resources that help you to develop a budget that's so elementary. What is that show that comes on? A sixth grader can do it. So I think that people, if you have a paycheck, you need to know how to do a budget.
Now I have to ask this question, because being that you've just taught me something as far as that I need to have a budget. I mean, it's something that I do for my company.
Okay.
It's not something that I actually consider doing for my household. Do you find that a lot of individuals actually keep budgets and maintain them, or is it the opposite?
No, just the opposite. Just the opposite. People don't look at themselves as needing a budget, but we all need to do that so that we can have better control of our money. And that's what it's all about. It's learning how to control what you're bringing into your household and what's going out. How can you say that in next year we're going to buy a car, and you don't even know what you've spent this year or the last 5 years?
I think that's the average household.
It is.
Most definitely the average household.
It is.
Well, that's a great learning for me, is to make sure that I actually have a budget. And I suppose that we would actually save more money if we had a budget as well.
You are so right. You hit it right on the nail right there, because that's what it's all about. You learn to stay within your means if you have that budget. And it's sort of like something that goes on in your mind that says, okay, have I spent the $150 that I said for entertainment this month? Oh, I think I have. Maybe I won't go out to dinner tonight.
Okay.
So, hopefully that'll help you to see at the end of the month, you look and you say, I overspent this month. Next month, I'm going to do better. And then when you look at that budget and you say, okay, the end of this year, wow, I saved all of this money. I was able, look how my savings account, my retirement fund, my nest egg, or whatever you're trying to build for, has grown. And simply having a budget can help you do that. And as I said, we have the resources to help you to get that budget. It can be very elementary, or it can be just as wide as you need it to be.
So what are some questions that a person should ask themselves to know whether they actually have an accounting issue? Well, I guess for an individual, the first thing is, do I have a budget?
Right. That is a very good question, because as we've been saying, that is what's going to keep you on track.
Okay.
So that you can get the things that you want to get in your household. And also to think about, is there something that I want to save for? And all of us need to think about what we're going to retire.
Okay.
When you retire, or if you're not near retirement age for the those that are in their 20s and 30s, then you still have a lot of life to live. What are you going to do? Are you going to just live from paycheck to paycheck? Make that decision that you're going to get that budget together, or you're going to decide that I'm going to keep better control of my finances. Even with, I had a client who's someone opened credit cards in his name. He never looked at his credit card statements. So he really, he would pay online, have, nowadays we even have the companies can come into your bank and get the money automatically, automatic withdrawals. So you don't even have to look at your statement. And that's how he was. He never looked at it. And then 6 or 7 months later decided he was going to open one. And lo and behold, it was a card that he really hadn't even ordered.
So he assumed that he was being marketed as opposed that it was an actual statement.
Exactly.
I can see exactly how that happened because we're
Exactly.
bombarded with marketing materials.
Exactly.
So you need to open every envelope that you receive.
Right. And then also individuals don't realize that you really have a responsibility to yourself and your household to know what's going in and coming out of your house.
Okay.
And if you don't do that, then you're only hurting yourself and your family. So that really will help you if you do that. And that for a business, in order for the business to grow, they need to know where they stand. Their records are so important.
Yes.
Even with the client that I was talking about, that they wanted to apply for grants, for government grants. Yes, there's some regulation. Yes, there's something you need in your accounting system in order to keep track of what you spend on that grant and how you spend it, but it's doable. Don't be afraid. You're doing a community service. Most nonprofits are wonderful.
Right.
But they're so, biting their teeth when you mention a grant. They want to just go on and, get the little bit of money that they're getting. They should be thinking big, but you have to keep good records. And then, as I said, you don't want Uncle Sam to come knocking, hello, we want to do this audit, and you don't even have the right records. Or you're missing out. Sometimes that's what happens to people. They're missing out on deductions that they could have had, especially home-based businesses. Missing out on deductions that you could have because you didn't keep receipts, or all the receipts are in the glove box and you forgot to pull them out for that particular year. You're laughing.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking, I'm actually going through my head and thinking about, okay, how am I keeping receipts? I usually, and please tell me if I'm wrong here, I usually have this brown expandable folder that I get from one of the major office places, and I will make sure as I get receipts to put them all in there, and then at the end of the year I organize them.
Okay. That's not a bad system.
Yeah, it's gotta be a shoebox.
At least you have them in one area.
Yes, I do.
But you
I
go
learned the hard way.
If you go a little bit further, because that's actually the system that I teach some people, because they're so busy they can't do the computer. We have systems that you can just scan in your receipts, and it automatically will go into the category that's supposed to go into.
Oh, that's
nice. Or once a week or once a month, take your receipts and you just type in the amount of that receipt and who the vendor is, and it will automatically go. You choose a category and it'll go into that category. End of the year, you have it to use for your taxes, okay? Or for your budget even for the next year, so you know what you've spent money on for households. See what your utilities were for that year. But if you can't get to that point, then the accordion file with the categories, that's perfect.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're doing it well. I feel so much better now. Now I have to really look at the household budget.
Yes.
So tell me, what led you to have this mission of financial literacy for all people?
I've always liked math, and most people don't.
True.
And I've learned that. I've learned that over the years, and I've watched people suffer through someone, like I said, the guy with the credit card, or the lady who I went into her company and I found out that, someone had stolen some of the checks, but they were in the middle of the check run. And so she didn't know that she should read a check register with checks in numerical order. Or even the friend that I had that is doing such a wonderful service to the community, but she was afraid to even apply for a grant. That hurt my heart. And I just felt like accounting does not have to be difficult. Yes, once you go beyond a certain point, you need to have a specialized, those are specialized areas. Taxes are specialized areas.
Right.
once you get from the financial statements, you need to know what happens if you're going to get audited. You need someone like me
Right.
or a tax professional to help you get through that. But there are certain areas that you can learn that will help you so that you don't have to worry about those things, so that you can get comfortable applying for a grant and knowing that the accounting professional that you hired is the right person because you know the questions to ask them. We help you with that too. So that's what it is. So I developed a system called SAMS, SAMS.
What does that stand for?
Simple Accounting Methods. Because I want to show people that, you know, you can learn a little bit about accounting, just enough so that if there is a scammer in your house, you know there's a scammer in your house. And that's really Lady Lillie's lowdown. Okay? I gave you a lot in there. Yes.
Get rid of the scammers in the house.
Yes.
Okay, okay. That's nice to know because I'd really hate to know that there's a scammer in my house.
You want to know. You want to know. And because you want to stop it.
True.
And I'm not necessarily I'm not necessarily saying house being your family, but it could be. But
True.
We're really talking about businesses as well. So in your business as well, you want to know if there's someone in there beating you. That's what happened to those. Once again, let's go back to Enron. That was a huge one.
Yes,
that's what happened. No one was overseeing these people. We're not going to name names, but you know, someone should have been overseeing that.
True.
And people should have known what was happening before it got that far. Someone should have known that, you know, you have a cash and carry business and the cash isn't where it should be. Then there's somebody who should have known about that. And if you keep good records, you have the right accounting system. In every industry, there's a different accounting system. So there's no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yes, there's different accounting systems for different industries. A construction company can't use the same accounting system that perhaps a mom and pop store would use.
Okay.
Or if you have a retail store, that's not the same accounting system that a construction company would use.
Okay.
Or a person that's a nonprofit. A nonprofit company needs something to keep track of grants. A retail store, they don't need anything like
Got
that.
it.
So you have different accounting systems, and it's important that you choose the right one so that your records will spit out the right information, because it's all about growth. The company wants to grow.
Right.
You want to make money. You're in business to make money, and you want that money to be more and more and more
Most
every
definitely,
year.
Most definitely.
Exactly. Money, money, money.
Money, money,
right?
money. Yeah, definitely. That's what it's all about.
Right. So that's what brought me to this point, because I love numbers, I love accounting, and I want to share that with people. And it, you know, it really hurts my heart when I see people can't do the things that they really need to do and want to do, especially, you know, they're just trying to make it. And all they need to know is some simple rules and regulations in order to get through.
Okay, excellent. You know, I used to think accounting was sort of boring. You know,
No.
you've made it actually seem a little doable.
Thank you.
You know, very doable, because it's interesting. In having a business, I definitely think about accounting, and I have a system that I use in place for that. You've really made me think about, for my household, for my family, that it's very important that I have some type of accounting system in place as well, which, you know, I think the average person, I think I can represent the average person here in thinking that simply having a checking account, maybe having a savings account,
Right.
and getting those things into the house that I need is pretty much it. And of course, saving maybe for something special. But to think about that I really need to have a system in place, I mean, that's sort of like, oh my goodness, really? I have to take it seriously?
Yes, definitely, definitely, definitely. In order to go on and in order to really get to a point where you know what's happening in your household, you really should. You really should.
Okay, okay. So let's get a little bit more into, there's a lot of confusing words, and you said that there were some terms that people need to know that could be very helpful for accounting. Now, oftentimes I hear the term record keeping. Is that the same as accounting? So when in the household I should keep records, or is that something different?
Well, the thing is that people sometimes think that a bookkeeper and an accountant are the same.
Yes.
A bookkeeper is more of a record keeper. So the bookkeeper is the one who records transactions. Now, an accountant, of course, I'm an accountant. I know how to record the transactions that a bookkeeper is doing, but
Okay.
I take it a step further, and I actually produce financial statements and other reports, financial statements, and those are just statements that you can look at to see where you stand at a particular point in time. Where do you stand? What does that mean? Where do you stand? How much money you've made and how much money you've lost, or who do you owe?
Okay.
Who owes you?
Now that's something a business would need, but that's not something that the home would need.
The homeowner still needs to know if they brought in more money than they sent out. Because if you don't
Well,
know
yeah.
that, you still, really, you've lost. So you
Right.
still want to know, am I spending too much? That's what it amounts to for a homeowner.
Okay, so I'm not robbing Peter to pay Paul and getting by myself in that situation.
Exactly. Or when I look at it, my goodness, look how much I'm spending in credit card. I'm spending
Oh.
all this money in credit cards when if I start going cash and carry only, I don't have to do all this interest. Look at your credit cards. We can do that too and see how much you've spent in interest and how much you actually paid off on those credit cards.
Let me ask you a question. Do we need to keep things as simple as grocery receipts?
For a household
Yeah,
or for a business?
For a household.
For
I wouldn't think for a
household,
business.
you keep it to a point where you have logged that in, so you know where you stand with your budget.
So we
because
should
food
track.
should be budgeted.
We should track food.
Definitely. That's a big budget line. Yes.
Yeah, because interesting. You know, I find that I go back and forth to the grocery store, and I guess that could be bad for my accounting system.
Yes. And no, not bad for your accounting system, but at the end of the year, when you look at that, maybe you'll say in your mind, do I really need to go that often? And maybe you'll decide that I'm only going once a week. And if I don't have it in the house, then I don't need it.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Okay, very, very interesting point. So let me ask you to give us a little bit of information regarding how your SAM system actually works. And how it works for, let's start with the home, and then we'll take it into business. So how does the SAM system actually work for us?
What we do is we have resources in-house, resources online that you can get to show you how to develop your budget, for instance. We
Okay.
can work with you to develop that budget, to teach you how to read it. And because we use the SAM system, simple accounting methods, the layperson will know what it's all about. So we don't go top level ideas and top level terminology. We use terminology that you use every day. For instance, with the first thing that we teach you is ale, A-L-E,
Okay.
which if you think about ale, you always have to be balanced. Even if you're drinking ale, you should be balanced. And ale is for your balance sheet. And ale are assets, liabilities, and equity. And even though it's an individual, you still have assets, which are your resources, your home,
Okay.
your anything that you have that's value, your jewelry, your car at this
Okay.
point.
Okay.
And then you have liabilities. Liabilities are things that you owe. This is all household. So in assets, you wouldn't have people that owe you necessarily, but in a business you would. But in a household, they have assets, then you have liabilities, which are things you owe out.
Mhm.
And then for a household, they may not have equity, but everybody's heard that word
Yes.
for your home.
Yes.
Okay? So you still have equity as well. Okay? Now for a business is going to look at ale as assets. Assets also not only will they include the furniture that the business owes, but those are things that people owe you.
Okay.
If you're a business, you may have a client out there that you send an accounts receivable to. That's an asset.
And
That's
I'd
someone
love
who
to have
owes
loads
you.
of that. Yes. Loads of those.
Yes. Liabilities are things that you owe. Once again, the same as for a household. So it would be accounts payable. Payable, you're paying it out.
Okay.
That's a SAM terminology. Then equity, a business is going to have equity. That's what you have invested in the company, or you have investors that have invested in your company.
Okay.
Now, L is assets, liabilities, and equity.
Okay.
You just
Assets,
learned
liability, and
Sam,
equity.
you just learned a simple accounting method.
Fabulous. Okay. Okay. I actually am feeling more comfortable with this.
Good.
Because as you said in the beginning, you love math.
Mhm.
There's so many people out here who I find interestingly do not like math, and I
Right.
am one of those people.
Okay.
And somehow or another, I think back in elementary school, we were scared off,
Right,
you know, from going through
right.
our math classes.
Right.
And so we end up as adults not wanting to deal with it
Mhm.
and not wanting to handle it.
Mhm.
So I wanted you to give us some of the overall benefits that everyone will have for taking care of their accounting and paying attention to it, as far as, and also in using SAM. Some major benefits for everybody.
The major benefits that I see would be that you can feel more comfortable and confident in what your financial situation is. So that's why I say it's financial literacy for all, because you want to know what's happening, whether your books are in your household or whether your books are in your business.
Okay.
You always want to know what's going in and what's coming out, and whether you have enough to do what you need to do.
That's major, because I've learned so much. That is
Great.
absolutely major. Okay, so
Great.
that's one benefit. And
Mhm.
I want to ask you a quick question here, since that's a major benefit for us. Do you find that a lot of the household people, that's the way I'm going to separate it now, as far as
Okay.
business and household.
All right.
Do you find that a lot of household people think that accounting is automatically attached to taxes? Because I think a lot of us hear about taxes and we think about, do you think that, explain the difference, how it really doesn't connect at all, or does it?
Household and taxes?
I mean, no, taxes and accounting.
Well, taxes are a part of accounting.
Okay,
So what the thing is that everyone feels like an accountant is also a person that does taxes.
thank you, okay.
But tax accounting is a specialized area.
Okay,
And what people should realize is that even like someone like me, I can do taxes. But as I said before, once I look at your shoebox receipts and your roller bag receipts, I don't want to have to go into the tax return as well.
okay,
But you should be aware of the fact that a tax accountant is going to take care of your taxes. An accountant may have to look at other things, even for a household. You may want to, for instance, doing a budget. That's part of accounting.
Okay, excellent. I just wanted, because I wanted to make sure people didn't think that was a benefit, that they have to have an accountant to do taxes
No,
or anything like that.
You do not.
So you've given us one benefit. What's another benefit for generally taking care of accounting or having the SAMS program?
Another thing that it could help you with is your record keeping for your tax return. Because
So
we
that's
have,
how it connects.
definitely, we have several programs that we use in-house that will help you to keep track of what you spent, to keep
Okay.
track of, even if it's, whether it's a household or a business. As I said, households, you need to know how much you spent on utilities last year so that you can budget for the next year. You need to know if you overspent in entertainment. You need to know if your kids, oh my goodness, you mean to tell me I bought him 3 pair of sneakers last year? Did he really need 3 or 5 pair of sneakers? So you need to know that. That's what your budget is going to tell you. That's what your records are going to tell you. That's what the system that we use is going to tell you, those types of things. For a business, of course, a business wants to know, once
Right.
again, whether they made money or they lost money. By the way, making money is net income.
Okay, got it.
Lost money is net loss. Loss.
Any other benefits?
I think for the most part, I would say that the budgeting and the tax records are probably the biggest benefits.
Okay.
But the thing is, you want to get organized. What we do is we have the resources, we have the we educate you, train you, and also we organize you. That's the three main functions of L&R Business Solutions. And we want people to be able to do this themselves. We want people to feel empowered and feel like they're educated enough to know if someone has stolen from them, if there is a scammer in their house. So that's the third thing that, you know, we feel is so important, because if you don't know what's happening in your records, you don't know if someone has stolen from you until it's too late.
That's true. You know, I have to add, though, I see another major benefit here.
Really?
But yes, particularly for the person. I'm a business owner, but I also, you know, I have the individual household, and I see the great way of saving money. I mean, just the idea of being able to, you have the budget, you keep up with how you're putting that money out, the loss, and then what you're bringing in. It opens the door for some major development for myself.
Yes.
That I can do more in my household.
Definitely.
Use money for my personal development and any other kinds of situations that I need it for. So it seems like it's totally advantageous. Now, does this mean, though, that I actually have to hire an accountant?
No, that's why Sam's is so good.
Okay.
Because you do not have to hire an accountant.
Okay.
Once you've learned what you need to do, it's the same. That's what makes accounting, and I know you all have heard this, that accounting is boring. Because you do the same thing it's not hard up to a certain point, and that's the point we want to get you to.
Okay.
And then after that, if you get past that point, you hire a professional. But up to a certain point, you can do it. That's why it's called simple accounting methods, because we teach you those methods, anyone, even a sixth grader. Okay, even a sixth grader. But the thing is that you do not have to hire an accountant to get you past that point. Okay, you just need to know for yourself, and you do the same thing every month, every year. That's why it can be boring. That's why we like when things happen. That's why we like when something goes wrong, because then we can go and find we have something to take us away from the day-to-day drudge. But then there's some accountants who love that. That's why they like accounting.
Now, since you've just told me that it's boring, that it's becoming routine, it's something that I'm going to do the same thing over each month and each year. Is there someone else who could do it for me in case I don't want to do it like that?
Definitely. You can always find a good bookkeeper or an accountant who will do that work for you, for sure.
Okay.
There are plenty out there, but make sure that these are the things that I tell people when they're looking for a good person to keep their records.
Okay, thank you.
Of course you want to look for someone that's honest. If you don't feel comfortable with them, don't hire them to do your books for you. The other thing is you got to watch out for the creative accountant. A creative accountant, and people do this too, is someone who's going to make up some numbers, put something in here, take something out there that's not supposed to be. It doesn't go according to the way accounting principles are supposed to go. Sam sure didn't teach him that. So you want to watch out for that. Plus we have a whole questionnaire depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a tax accountant, you're looking for a CPA, we have a whole questionnaire to help you. What should you ask that person? And we give you the answers to the question.
Oh, excellent.
So that you know what to look for when they answer the question. And then we also have a questionnaire for we talked about reading financial statements, knowing that your check register is in check number order and things like that. We have questionnaires like that also. But you do not have to necessarily, if you decide you don't want to do it yourself, you don't have to go through the day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year and do it yourself. But we still want you to know, the whole idea is for you to know, even though you say, I don't know what I don't know at the beginning, we want to get you to the point where you say, I know what I know.
Wow. So you really have made it simple accounting methods.
Definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
So are there any last thoughts you want to leave us with? Any final thoughts about what we really need to know when it comes to accounting and maintaining our financial health?
Well, what I want people to really come away with is the fact that God said, just wait and render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. And what he's saying is, You don't want to cheat anybody. So that's what just waste. If you're going to be in business, or even if it's your household, you don't want to cheat anybody. So just waste. And then render unto Caesar's what is Caesar's. Know what's in your record so that you can give Uncle Sam what he wants, what he deserves to run the country, no matter what country you're in. You have some kind of taxing authority. And so give them what they deserve, what they're supposed to get. So keep good records so that you can do that. So you're not beating yourself and you're not beating your government. And you know, that's really how I think that if people keep those two things in mind and realize that they can learn a few accounting terms and a little bit about budgeting, a little bit about check registers and all these other accounting terms that we have out there, and they would feel empowered enough to say that I know that this is not what this is supposed to be. Something is happening in my records here. Even a bank statement. We teach you how to read a bank statement.
Excellent.
You have to make sure that you look at that statement, because the people who are putting in those records, we're all human.
Exactly.
And we make mistakes.
Yeah.
So you need to know.
Excellent. And I want to make the last point as well, because I think you're saying this, and that's the empowerment of people. And oftentimes I think that people do not see financial health as being a part of their personal development. And
but it is.
Yes, and you're doing that and
is.
helping people to see and understand that in order really to develop yourself as an individual. Not only is it about your education, you know, as far as the knowledge you know in order to perform your job or do your career, not only is it about taking care of your physical health, your emotional health, but financial health is also extremely important.
Definitely.
Okay,
Definitely.
so tell us, how can we reach you? You know, how can we get in contact with you to learn more about SAMs, to learn how to do SAMs, how to improve, of course, our financial health?
Well, our website is www.lilliewest.com. That's LILLIEWEST.com. Or you can reach us, send us an email, and in the subject line, put MOE, M-O-E, which stands for Marathon of Excellence.
Excellent.
And put that in the subject line, and you can email us at lillie@lilliewest.com. Excellent.
Is there anything special you'd like for our viewers to do when they contact you?
Well, after this show, we're going to have a Twitter chat. So I want to make sure that everyone uses the hashtag Lady Lillie's Lowdown.
Oh.
Make sure that you put that S on Lily's. Lady Lillie's Lowdown. And Lillie is with two L's. Lillies, Lowdown.
All right.
So make sure that you come into the Twitter chat to talk to us so that we can find out what you all thought about the program and what you learned today. Remember L, remember SAMs, remember that you need a budget, and come in and chat with us for a while. But send us a message with the subject line MOE and include your name, your cell phone number, and we'll get in touch with you and talk to you some more to find out what you need, because as I said, each individual is different.
Okay.
Everybody's different. No two people are alike. So we want to find out about you first to see what you need, and the conversation is free. It's a free consultation, so come on, send us an email, come on into the Twitter chat and chat with us for a while.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. I've learned so much. I'm going to go set up a budget. I'll be emailing you.
Okay, great.
Make sure I can set up a household budget and so forth.
Wonderful.
Thank you all so much for joining us here at Marathon of Excellence with our guest, Ms. Lillian West. We've had a wonderful, wonderful experience here. Love to have you back again.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining us. Continue watching us on Marathon of Excellence.